Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we are here back on Le Mans Ultimate. Yes, it's been a while, a very long time since I last dived into this game. Honestly, I just never really had time to, but finally today the 2024 Season Pass Pack 2 DLC, yes, it's a very catchy name, has been released onto the sim. It adds a couple of cool new cars and a few new features, including co-op mode, which I think is going to be absolutely fantastic for people playing this game just a little bit more. But yeah, Pack 2, though, consists of the Battle of the Red, White and Blue. So COTA is now inside the game, as well as, I believe, the Alpine LMDH car, and then also the, is it the Isotta as well, isn't it? I'm probably butchering the name of that one as well. I don't know why it suddenly decided to make the tab so small as well. So here we go. Obviously, the Battle of the Red, White and Blue, the second content pack from the 2024 season, is ready to join the grid in Le Mans Ultimate. The Texan shootout at the Circuit of the Americas hosts the battleground between the French flair of Alpine and the independent adventures of Isotta Fraschini. The spirit of Le Mans goes stateside with the arrival of the Circuit of the Americas to Le Mans Ultimate. COTA returns to the FIA and, yeah, various little bits of information as well there. We get a bit of info about the cars as well. The Alpine A424 from the French sports car manufacturer conjures up the magic and the mystique of sports car racing. Its angular, purposeful look, complete with a vibrant Mechachrome 3.4-litre V6 engine. I won't try to give Mechachrome too much slander in this video, but basically it's got the Formula 2 engine in it. And then, of course, yeah, the Isotta, the Tipo 6 Competizione from the boutique Italian manufacturer Isotta Fraschini completes the 2024 WEC Hypercar grid in Le Mans Ultimate. The car may be an underdog in a fiercely competitive prototype field. However, the Isotta team is not a team wants to make up the numbers, continue the legacy of the Indy marquee, and take the fight to the establishment. So yeah, we've obviously got those two cars and the Circuit of the Americas. Obviously, the DLC, if you just want to buy this pack, is £9.99. Or, weirdly, you can buy all 4 DLCs in one go for £40. Despite the fact that it's, unless they give you some extra stuff, it's going to be 3 pence more expensive. Which is a little bit weird. But of course, yeah, today we're going to dive in. We're going to do some laps here around COTA with these 2 new cars. Of course, timestamps, as always, will be linked down in the description. Get yourself subscribed if you're new, if you want to see more kind of various sim racing content. And yeah, let's do this thing. Well, here we are then in our Isotta car, of course. I must admit, it has been a while since I'd last played this game. Like I said, I played it when it first launched, and then never really got back into it. I kind of obviously picked up the early version of the game, but then I kind of warned everyone that I don't even know, whether this game was ever really going to make its full release or anything like that. It's still technically in beta still, so that's kind of, I think, they're a little bit of an excuse for glitches and bugs and things like that. But I tell you what, it's already survived longer than I think I thought it would as well there, of course. Now, I have paid for the DLC. I don't think motorsport games really want anything to do with me because I have been fairly critical of them in the past, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast as well. And, this game certainly seems to be the outlier in, first of all, we've actually ended up with it. And it is, I've seen a lot of people giving it more and more love in recent times. It has still definitely got its problems. But yeah, seems to have a decent core little audience as well. And I do need to do some online racing on it. And I've got to admit, immediately what I'm noticing is how good just the force feedback feels as well. I haven't really got this game kind of fine-tuned and everything like that still with my force feedback settings, so I apologise. People hate the fact I like to have a very, very powerful wheel, so it probably is clipping just a little bit as well in certain instances there as well. Cold tyres, this thing, very, very easy and happy to lock up its fronts, but it sounds good. Obviously revs up quite nicely as well. I must admit, I love these cars in endurance racing. I think they always end up kind of having a bit of a cult following as well. Obviously, the little privateer teams that try and fight, of course, annoyingly, Isotta have given up this year. I think they label it as strategic reasons, which was quite clear that I don't think they've run out of money, but I just think they kind of realised that it wasn't going to be worthwhile, and if they want to have a chance to be on the grid next year, then yeah, it was probably worth just scrapping the end of this season, saving the cash, not trying to ship the car over, to COTA and obviously out to Bahrain as well, and just focus on next year. And, you know, it kind of said, you know, they didn't really want to be a field filler. That's kind of how they've ended up being throughout most of the year. Unfortunately, you know, a team like this can't really play the politics game against, you know, Ferrari and Toyota and Porsche and things like that. And, you know, they haven't got the resources either of a Ferrari, a Toyota, or a Porsche or anything like that as well. So it has been, yeah, a tough old year. But, you know, you always want to root for the underdog as well. And it has certainly been interesting kind of watching WEC when I've had the chance. And, you know, just trying to keep an eye out on them as well. They have had a couple of decent giant killing performances with some of the other kind of lower down teams as well, which has, yeah, been fantastic to watch as well there. But, yeah, immediately, though, I must admit, yeah, COTA, you don't get this on the F1 game. This place is really, really bumpy. Now, I believe all of Le Mans Ultimate's tracks are, in fact, laser scanned, so we should be getting a more accurate depiction of this place than we would inside F1 24. I might make a direct comparison video separate between this and iRacing in one of the cars, obviously, that is in both of the sims. Maybe the Porsche 963, maybe the Cadillac or something like that. Because, yeah, I'll tell you what, this game, I'll give it credit. It's genuinely surprised me with how good a job it's been able to do with some of its features as well so far. And it does kind of feel that as long as they can get all the DLC out and there's no other kind of major drama with it, this might well be kind of motorsport games' hidden gem. Amongst all of the failure, all of the disappointment, this game might still end up kind of not necessarily saving them. I don't think it's going to be that big. But, yeah, might just kind of, you know, it can serve as a decent, you know, footnote for them as well. There's all just get done for track limits. Now, it definitely still needs a few other features as well and things like that. I did really and ah about doing like a full campaign career mode and things like that on this game as well. But ultimately, yeah, decided against it as of right now, just because I don't think the game is quite ready for that. But maybe down the line I'll do like a full-on Le Mans Ultimate style kind of career mode as well there. Could be quite fun when obviously we get all of the, you know, the complete DLC as well. I mean, again, what this game does fantastically well, you know, is all that bumps and everything. You feel it both through the wheel, you see it as well in the car. Obviously you can disable the camera shake, and maybe for me it is slightly more than I would like, but, you know, for having not played this game in nearly a year now, immediately it feels fairly decent to just kind of jump back in and pick up and play as well there. And I do want to branch out into more sim racing titles as well. You know, I've been doing a lot of iRacing on this channel, but yeah, I do want to play some other sims and try out some other things as well in the not too distant future, as definitely not quite getting the line right through the exit there. But I mean, yeah, this car sounds good. Obviously, I've never driven it. I couldn't really tell you as to how it should drive, but I guess it feels like pretty much any other hypercar, to be completely honest. You know, obviously it isn't as quick. I wouldn't even know. I would assume my lap times are pretty far off as well. What decent runs would be in this car. I would assume most of these things are probably kind of around, you know, probably the 1 minute 45, 1 minute 50 mark, I would guess. Probably closer to 150, actually, I reckon. Formula 1 cars normally go around here in about 90 seconds, aren't they? And, you know, hypercars now aren't as quick as their old LMP1 rocket ships that came before them. But, you know, I am slowly trying to build it up. I don't really want to bin this thing if I can avoid it. I know it's only in a game, but, yeah, this thing, it does feel pretty special. And, you know, although it still looks very, very likely that they will be on the calendar next year, this could be the only ever Isotta that we see in hypercar as well, which would be a shame. But, you know, like I said, you've got to enjoy these kind of minnow teams as well. There is a big lock-up through the final corner then. What's this lap time going to be? We're going to be almost down into the 158. So we are finding just a little bit more time as well in this car. I'm expecting the Alpine to be quicker. I might take that, though, to a different venue. Like I said, I never actually covered the first DLC that dropped for the game. So I might, yeah, take the Alpine. I'm trying to remember where it was. I want to say, I think it was Imola, wasn't it? That was obviously the other DLC that came to this game a couple of months ago. And of course, yeah, we're meant to be getting that third DLC, I believe, in December. So again, I probably, sadly, won't be able to cover that one when it launches either. Oh, that was track limits as well, apparently. I thought I just like kept that between the white lines there, as you can already see. I mean, I've gone through this set of tyres pretty quickly. And yeah, just started to struggle a little bit with those fronts as well. I could quite happily, though, you know, kind of once I built up a bit more confidence, I feel like I could do some online racing on this game. You know, kind of have a bit of fun with it. I do, you know, it's the other things as well that I do really like. You know, I'm a fan of the HUD. I'm a fan of the MFD on this title still. And I had kind of forgot just how good it feels. You know, the first version was a little bit rusty, but they have done a lot of progress since then. You know, they've made it kind of a bit more pick up and play. It's not so, you know, that was always R-Factor's big problem, which for those of you that don't know, this game is, you know, completely built on R-Factor. You know, that game is such a pain to try and kind of fine-tune and tweak as well. Once again, just not quite getting the line right into there. But, oh yeah, on this one, you know, it is a bit more kind of pick up and play. It is meant to be a little bit more fun. I don't know whether that's them trying to gear it up for a console release. Maybe that'll happen at some point in the future. But I think, you know, well, effectively now I've spent, I think, £65 on this, if you include the base game and the DLC. So I've certainly given them, you know, full retail price on this title as well. They're at the final corner again. That's going to be a one. It would have been a low 58. Let's go take the Alpine then over to Imola, because I fancy giving that track a go as well. And yeah, the Isotta though, I must admit, it's probably not going to be that fast, but it is good fun. And here we are then out in the Alpine here at Imola. I've taken the number 36 car. Of course, Mick Schumacher had that brilliant drive out of Fuji a couple of weeks ago. And hopefully, as you can see, the marshal there waves me out of the pit lane. Let's get this thing going as well then. Now, I expect this car to be a bit quicker than, like I said, than the Isotta, but it might still be a bit of a handful in its own way there, as you can see immediately. You know, tire temperature is rather critical inside this game, which is good. You know, it should be important. It should be that you've got to try and build that up as well, especially around a track like this. You know, it's a bit more old school than COTA. COTA was very good fun, but yeah, Imola certainly has a lot more history to its name as well there. And I mean, I watched a big chunk of this World Endurance race back earlier on in the year. That was absolutely brilliant, vintage WEC that weekend as well there. But let's just try and build up a little bit more into the car then. You know, it does sound very different to the Isotta, as you would expect. They've both got 6-cylinder engines though. But yeah, it is nice, of course, that you do get all those differences and things like that as well. Now, like I said in the intro, this thing actually uses the engine from Formula 2, if I'm not mistaken, the same Mechachrome engine that they use in that series. So that would explain probably why it'll go bang within about 2 minutes. Or that if Joshua Dirksen gets in this car, then suddenly it's going to be even more rapid. Yeah, I'm still really not sure what's going on with Alpine and their engine department and things like that. But, you know, I guess that is a conversation for another day. But I mean, immediately then, yeah, this thing just gives me a little bit more confidence to kind of try and throw into the corners and really give it everything that it's got. I so want to see a Cura come to Le Mans at some point in the near future. I'm not really sure why they haven't still. Someone have to fill me in down in the comments below. I mean, look at that, 305 clicks in towards Stone 1. That's over 180 miles an hour. These things are fast in a straight line when you've got everything working now. We've almost got those tyres up to temperature as well. Again, I do love that little radar, but yeah, this place certainly doesn't quite absolutely, you know, cook the tyres up like COTA does there as well. You just see again making a little bit of a mistake through the Gilles Villeneuve chicane. But again, though, you know, this place feels very accurate. It feels very lifelike, as you would expect. Like I said, I'm pretty certain all the tracks inside this game are laser scans. The more I'm racing, the less and less I'm liking the helmet movement, to be completely honest. It's a little bit too much for my liking. I know some people quite like it. Oh! And it gives you a better idea of what's going on. As I think we've just trashed our Alpine. That was not ideal. Right, but now I've got the tyres hopefully up to a bit more temperature. Note to self, don't try to take the start of Aqua Minerale completely flat out. It is something that still I struggle with a little bit with these hypercars. They obviously, where they're incredibly quick, you know, and they've got a lot of downforce, especially when I take them to a Formula 1 track. I do occasionally get my breaking point slightly optimistically late, or just believe they've got a bit more downforce than they have. But I think that goes to show just how quick these things are as well. You know, that it is a conscious kind of thing that I have to remember that, you know, they're not Formula 1 cars. They are so fast. They are so racy. But they're not quite Formula 1 cars at the end of the day. Now, of course, the big thing for a lot of people, you know, with something like this is, you know, £10 for the DLC or £40 for the season pass. Is it going to be worth it for the average consumer? I'll be honest, I'm still not entirely convinced. Le Mans Ultimate, it's doing a lot of the things that it should be correct. And it's giving me more and more confidence in the game. But I said it originally when the game first dropped as well. I'm just not sure I can still recommend it to people. Now, if I give the online a bit of a go and it seems like there's good numbers and things like that, maybe I can start encouraging more people to get on with it. Because, of course, obviously, unless you want to do like a World Endurance career mode or things like that, or you just fancy chucking a car over the chicane, trying to do my best Charles Leclerc impression, you know, most people are going to want to buy these cars and things like that to do online racing. Now, there does seem to be slowly more and more support coming in for matchmaking and things like that. Of course, the Le Mans Ultimate's built-in system actually did hold up fairly popular in the opening few weeks, but I don't quite know where it's really gone outside of special events now. I believe they've partnered up with either Lowfield Motorsport, I want to say. So we are going to see more LFM racing as well on the sim. It might have been LFM, it might have been SimGrid. I can't quite remember which one it is off the top of my head. But either way, you know, it's a good step in the right direction. And, you know, you'll probably get more people that are on those platforms on other games that are willing to kind of give it a bit of a go and things like that as well. So I want to believe that if this is the last Motorsport Games game that we get, that it is going in the right direction. It is getting there. Now, if you believe in that vision and you want to help support that vision, then of course purchasing DLC and things like that is a fantastic way to kind of help the developers out as well. And you do get some decent cars, some decent tracks. As always, like every DLC I've ever reviewed that isn't iRacing, it's better value than iRacing. The car doesn't feel as complete to drive as, say, it would on iRacing, but of course, you know, you're paying that premium for that extra level that obviously is come to expect from that sim as well. This thing is even more of a handful on its brakes than the Isotta was. Really struggling to get up tire temperature still. Don't know whether the track temp is much lower or anything like that as well around this venue, but yeah, both cars have been brilliant fun to drive. Like I said, you know, I haven't really tweaked around with setups or anything like that. But immediately just out of the box, you know, it's put a smile on my face. It is an enjoyable experience still on Le Mans Ultimate as well. And like I said, if you buy into that vision, if you do believe that they are going the right way with this game and you want to support them, then obviously purchasing the DLC or the Season Pass is the way to go. Like I said, I don't actually know whether it might make more financial sense to not buy the Season Pass. But like I said, I don't know whether we're going to get to the end of the Season 4 DLC and Season Pass owners are going to, you know, get extra content or anything like that, that then people will feel like they missed out on. So you do take a bit of a risk with that to save 3 pence. Hopefully most people watching this video aren't too concerned about 3 pence. If you're that concerned about 3 pence, I would say you shouldn't be buying Le Mans Ultimate DLC in the first place as well there. But there's a bit of a change up from iRacing as well. This has been really good fun. Like I've said, you know, I want to branch out, do some other games as well. I want to get back onto ACC. I want to do some more videos on Automobilista. And like I said, maybe I'll give Le Mans Ultimate a bit more of a go as well in the not too distant future. But yeah, we've got a lot of cool things lined up in the near future as well there. And yeah, I give you credit as well. I've never noticed how bumpy Imola is in any game as well there, as we're just trying to get this final lap hooked up all clean and tidy as well. But obviously GT3 cars, I believe, are coming in the next DLC as well, so that'll certainly be fun, obviously, because you're going to get a lot of competition there, but of course Bottle Job 212 is going to strike as well. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below whether you're going to be picking up this game or the DLC, giving it a whirl. Let me know what you think as well. Thank you all, as always, so much for watching. Obviously, if you want to help support us, then you obviously click that sub button as well. We're getting closer and closer to 11k here on the channel. But yeah, that's going to do us for this one, and we'll be back very soon with more sim racing content.